All right, music fans and fans. I don't know if you're a fan of the culture war. I'm not. I don't like culture wars, but here I am, Dave, talking about these things and doing so in real time for real people just like you and just like me, just so you get some music content here. This band, Houston, this is their album 4. It's good from start to finish. It is just great AOR sounding stuff, a very listenable, very well put together. Houston 4. And Houston, we do have a problem. You know what the problem is? Is that the culture war is so insane. Parts of this culture war didn't exist like 5 minutes ago. 10 minutes ago. What do you mean kids need gender affirming care? What is that? And then they explain it to you and you go, okay, so we've established now that there is a new form of healthcare called mutilation. And, you know, we've had death care for years, right? We've heard that death is healthcare, right? Death, it's healthcare. I mean, I think up in Canada, right? Don't. In addition to the obvious other form of death healthcare, which I think 60 million of those have been done here in the United States. Shouldn't we try to reduce that number? I mean, even if you're pro-death healthcare, wouldn't you want less of that rather than more of that? Wouldn't you say, okay, you know, I think it was what President Clinton said, safe, legal, and rare? Rare? Nobody cares about rare anymore. You know, not even, it used to be a thing. It's not a thing anymore. But what I've learned through the whole Snider, Paul Stanley thing is that healthcare includes mutilation and death. Those are just obvious truths. And if you say it that way, people lose their mind. In fact, this article, which is on a website, it's a classic rock website. Now people say, Dave, you really should stay in your lane, dude. Stay in your lane. Somebody said to me, they said, next time someone says to stay in your lane, say, do you watch ESPN? ESPN, you know, the sports channel, supposed to be covering sports all the time. Yeah. ESPN, we interrupt our woke politics to bring you the scores from last night's game. The most insane not stay in your lane example of this is ESPN, but I found a classic rock website, classicrock93.9.com. And they're currently playing Funk number 49 by the James Gang, just so you know that they're authentic, right? Good song, by the way. But here's the first article on their website. SF Pride hopes Dee Snider and Paul Stanley controversy helps educate the world. Don't you mean indoctrinate the world? Educate? What do you mean educate? Like the world doesn't understand mutilation and death? They don't understand that. So SF Pride is hoping to educate. Now, Dee Snider was supposed to perform at the SF Pride next month, June. It's going to be just an amazing month. Did I tell everybody I'm looking forward to June so much? By the way, if you're one of the people watching this video, congratulations. You got through the algorithm. You decided you were going to watch despite the title and the things I'm talking about. So congratulations. Give yourself a hand. What's it, like 2 out of every 67 subscribers are watching? 1 out of every 67? I mean, this is silly. This is just silly. Are you subscribed to the channel? Yes. Are you getting notifications on videos? Yes. Are you watching the videos? And I'm not busting on anybody. It's just kind of weird that, you know, it just free fall. Maybe I need to hang out with Tucker Carlson over on Twitter. There might be a way for me to do this on Twitter. And I'm thinking Twitter because it's not going to do all this shadow banning and selective suggesting that it might be a solution. And I'm really thinking about looking into it. Watch the videos, subscribe to the videos and to the channel. Anyway, I'm just babbling now. So let me get back to this amazing article, which is on a classic rock website. So again, Snider was supposed to perform, but the two sides agreed to part ways, meaning that Dee Snider also decided to part ways. Now, my guess is they probably said, hey, Dee, can you unlike that thing that you liked where Paul Stanley suggested that this sort of treatment for children has turned into a sad and dangerous fad? Because again, where was this treatment 20 years ago, 10 years ago, even 5 years ago? Where was this? Was this a thing in 1988 when we're not going to take it was a big deal? Actually, that was more like 1984, but nobody's really keeping track at this point. At the time, SF Pride said they appreciate Dee seeing this as a teachable moment. Folks, do you need a teachable moment here? Is there something that you don't understand about mutilating children and or killing them? I'm just curious. Is there something that you don't understand that you need to be taught about? That death is a bad thing and mutilation is a bad thing. You would think that's a no-brainer, right? But Dee Snider, thank goodness, we're trying to alter his brain chemistry. And here's a guy, by the way, that I disagree with on so much. And here he is taking a little baby stand on something and not even putting it out there himself, just agreeing with Paul Stanley. Who then, Paul Stanley, of course, walks it all back and says, oh, I chose my words inappropriately. What I meant to say is, yeah, full steam ahead, guys and gals, or whatever, or non-binary, or whatever, just go for it. Wow. And these are older people. Dee Snider, I think, in his 60s. Paul Stanley in his 70s. I mean, does age account for wisdom at all anymore? No. See, this affects everybody's bottom line. Well, we were going to have Dee appear at this great concert event, but he's not, and so he's not going to collect all that money that we were going to pay him to be there to sing We're Not Going to Take It. So Donald Trump can't just be the only guy who plays the song at his rallies, which infuriates Dee Snider. And so he set out to basically work against Trump, doing the stuff that, is basically the antithesis of the Trump movement, even though, by the way, Trump met with a group of these people down in Mar-a-Lago just to kind of be honest about everything. Everyone is so afraid to just say, look, certain things are bad. Certain things are wrong. Can't do that anymore. Anyway, they go on here because this was a teachable moment for Dee Snider. Suzanne Ford, who's executive director of SF Pride, tells ABC News, I think he has learned something. But I don't think he's at a place where we would probably be totally in alignment about our opinions regarding healthcare for trans children. Okay. Is it okay to just invent a category out of whole cloth? Now, I wonder, do these kids, are they old enough to drive a car when they make this, they make this decision? Are they old enough to drive a car? Are they old enough to get a tattoo? Are they old enough to vote? Are they old enough to join the military? Have their cognitive skills fully developed at that point? These are just basic questions. Getting back to COVID, do they have informed consent? Are they able to have informed consent at that age? Not because Suzanne Ford says, hey, Johnny, are you feeling like Shania Twain today? What do you think? And you've got all these adults who are enabling this stuff. And I'm thinking Johnny should be left alone. How's that? Let Johnny grow up to whatever age. Maybe we should put a number on that. I'm thinking about 25, actually. Some people would say 18. There's no evidence. I have an 18-year-old. There's no evidence that the 18-year-old is fully cognitively developed at that point. My 18-year-old knows, the difference between, what this is not. He would say, this is definitely not healthcare, Dad, because healthcare means that you take care of somebody, that you make them well, and that they're sick. And again, you're supposed to do no harm. Death and mutilation, I don't know, that doesn't sound like do no harm, Dad. Anyway, Nguyen Pham, who is the president of SF Pride, and again, folks, this is on a Classic Rock website. Classic Rock 93.9, classicrock939.com. So this person says, who's the president of SF Pride, one of our core pillars of our overall mission is to educate the world. They're educating the world. They're in San Francisco, but their mission is to educate the world. I don't think Vladimir Putin wants to be educated. I don't think Xi Jinping is going to be educated by Mr. Pham or Miss Pham or non-person Pham. I don't know. I better be careful here. I don't know what the pronouns are. All right, so we do see this. This is what Mr. Pham, or just say Pham, says. So see the problems that develop in society here just by this one little problem here, which I don't know how to address this person. So we do see this as an opportunity to narrow that gap of understanding just a little bit with our key allies. Oh, your key allies like D. Snider. He agrees with Suzanne, but adds, we do see potential there, meaning that he agrees that they're not going to see eye to eye with D. Snider, but there is potential that D could come around. So D, when is your apology going to happen, bro? I mean, you're way overdue. Let's hear the apology. Now, D is a bit stubborn. He's a bit obstinate and rebellious. So maybe he's just doing this as a way to be a little like his old self, right? But at a certain point, he's going to say, man, I should have done what Paul Stanley did and just walk everything back. He didn't even say anything. He just liked what Paul Stanley tweeted out, and Paul's walked it back. So all D has to do is say, hey, I agree with Paul now. Can we just move on with this so I can start to make money again and be accepted by all the wrong people in society? Here's where this person, Suzanne Ford, has a really big problem. She takes particular issue with Stanley's description of gender confirmation treatment as a fad. Okay, again, where was this 10 years ago? Where was this 20 years ago? Where was this throughout human history? I know the ancient pagan gods. I understand. So you can go back and find some of this way back. If you read the book, which is Over My Shoulder, The Return of the Gods, you'll find out that this was a thing back in ancient Mesopotamia or somewhere like that, But but for the last few thousand years, for the most part, in the civilized world, this hasn't been a thing. Anyway, she really took issue with Stanley when he said this was a fad and it was quite dangerous. Oh, and their comments to Paul Stanley his comments are actually quite dangerous because he was standing up for kids. Snider was supposed to serve as the parade's celebrity grand marshal and perform Twisted Sisters' We're Not Gonna Take It as the rallying cry. What are they not going to take? Are they not going to take people disagreeing with them? Common sense, normies, human beings who just go to work and try to make ends meet each day, raise their families, do what's right in society, maybe go to church every so often? Yeah, a church, that's a problem too. Yeah, I'm sure they're hoping that there's some way they can get rid of the church. Snider, again, was supposed to serve as the celebrity grand marshal SF Pride is now looking for a replacement. All right, so there you go. You're looking for a gig? Anybody? SF Pride. You just have to agree with everything they say. You've got to enjoy mutilation. You've got to enjoy death. Those are things that are important. Maybe like a death metal band could go out there. Why not? I mean, somebody who enjoys that kind of thing, maybe it's in their lyrics. They don't even have to have an opinion on anything. They could say, look at our lyrics. We're talking about decapitation and, running somebody over with a bulldozer. It's in the lyrics. It's right there. And they'll be like, yeah, okay. Yeah, we'd love to have you, because that's what we do too. Folks, if you don't think this isn't an important issue, and you think that these guys aren't staying in their lane. ESPN, they're not in their lane. There are a number of news organizations that purport to do news, but yet they basically broadcast propaganda. And this is another wing, another arm of that propaganda. First story, 96.9 classic rock, or 93.9 classic rock, and there's the story. Yeah, where's the classic rock? You have to kind of scroll down a little bit to find some classic rock. I mean, their stories aren't the most classic rock oriented things. Anyway, this one's at the top. So, because it does involve Dee Snider and Paul Stanley to a lesser extent, yeah, I guess it kind of qualifies as a story that they could cover. But this isn't going away. And if they really wanted to be more diplomatic, they wouldn't cover a story like this. They would just maybe cover it the first time and then just leave it alone and say people have differing opinions on this. No, what they're basically selling to everybody is everyone thinks like this, and you better hurry up and think like this. And if you don't, you're the problem. You're the one that's disturbed, not the people advocating for mutilation and death. Those are the people that are the good people, obviously, and you're the bad people trying to protect kids from mutilation and death. So, yeah, there you have it. Music, Houston 4, it's good. Go listen to it. My name is Dave. Please subscribe to the channel if you think about it, and also watch the videos. I know ads are tedious to watch, but if you can watch the ads, or if you could support the channel, Patreon for $1 a month, and also YouTube memberships for $2.99, that would help me. I'm going to see what Tucker Carlson is up to over on Twitter, and who knows? Maybe there's room for yours truly over on Twitter. It might be fun. We'll check it out, and thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.